Thank you. Okay, so on behalf of YieldPlanet, what I want to show you, the hoteliers and hotel professionals, is the price optimizer revenue management system made by YieldPlanet. You might have heard of YieldPlanet already before. Hope you had a chance to do that. Because we are a channel manager company. Channel manager is our heritage. This is our first product, and that's what we have what we are expert in. Now, on top of the revenue, on top of the distribution on the usual channel manager, we've also built our revenue management system, and this is a little bit different approach to revenue management and the holistic management of your rates, of your sales strategy, than something you might be used up to date. So yeah, I'm more than excited to take you in to explain you that it is how it works and how it differs from a different RMS. Now, of course, every system is different, but and has its own capabilities, unique selling points, unique features, and so on. But what we can see on the market is that most revenue management systems they work as it is, maybe in a simplified way, but described and visualized here, is that the revenue management system connects to the PMS by taking some reservation reports, and it's sending back rates to the PMS. And only then the PMS is asking the channel manager to distribute the rates, including the availabilities restrictions, to all the online channels. And whenever there's any reservation made, it gets back to the channel manager and it's sent to the PMS again. Maybe after some couple of hours, the reports are being again generated for the revenue management system, and there is an update of the rate. Now it is a very good way of optimizing rates, but there are still some other things that revenue managers are, of course, busy with, especially like once it comes to the exact application of the sales strategy and revenue strategy holistically. Because on top of the rates, there are also some other things that that revenue managers are dealing with. So they're dealing with overbookings, with restrictions, and also with different channels. So even if they have this great support from the revenue management system that is optimizing rates, there are still many different factors that revenue managers need to control, need to take care of. And even if there is a rate shopper that is supplying rates, competition rates to the RMS and making it a little bit more automated, this is still the challenge to deal with the distribution as such. So what we can see from discussion with our clients and from the feedback that we got from them is that on top of the pure pricing management, pure dynamic pricing, there are tons of other different challenges that revenue managers really do have on a daily basis. Like for example, how to ensure that the most direct rates, we call it like this. So the rates which are offered on via phone, via email, or for the walk-ins are always in sync with the latest dynamic pricing, and also that you maybe are not paying the commission for your CRM provider to for the most direct guest. Also, it is a pretty important challenge to also deal with the commissions that OTAs are cutting, taking from the bookings, because even if the price is optimal, is like even if you end up with the best possible price, sometimes big OTAs they can take up to even 20 something percent of the reservation revenue, which is a big loss, and sometimes you can also avoid that. Also, there's many times, very often there are situations where some rooms are already sold, and you can still see a demand, and you would like to keep on selling that room. And yes, this concept is called overbooking. But I mean, how to ensure that first of all, this demand is fulfilled anytime it is really required to do so, and B, that you're not overbooking the whole property, because as much as the overbooking on the room type level is really appreciated in this situation, then the overbooking on the room on the hotel level is a problem. Then other things like lowering the price if you want to offer some last minute promotions. This might be sometimes challenging to lower the price, because if your guests who have already booked, they notice that that the price went down, they might be willing to rebook at the lower price. So this is another challenge. Then also it makes a lot of sense to sometimes close different OTAs to basically avoid the commission. This is also something which you need to be very careful, and sometimes you need to do this kind of things multiple times per day, even for one stay date. And of course, every revenue manager is responsible for all the stay dates where the sales is open. So it becomes really a challenge. And also, like especially still nowadays, when there's a lot of ambiguity in planning, maybe there are some first events appearing there and back in different countries, but at the same time, we all understand that, and we all observe that there are some lockdowns appearing again in different countries. So probably some events might get cancelled. And if you have already experienced this kind of situation, you probably know how much of an effort it takes to really react on such an event. It's really a big thing, and yeah, also a big challenge for revenue manager and also the other team members who are dealing with that. And one last challenge that also remains unsolved with the usual revenue management system approach is how to sync not only the pricing but also the whole distribution among all the properties I'm having. That is especially the challenge for hotel chains, where they have centralized offices dealing with the revenue management and distribution. So that becomes a big challenge if the pricing is solved in a different place, in a different tool than the distribution. So why am I listing all of those challenges? Of course, probably not a surprise, because with Process Optimizer revenue management system, we are solving those problems. First of all, we're combining dynamic pricing for each room type individually with a precise distribution for every sales channel, and also, and I mean every sales channel. So not only online channels, but also those offline channels, those the most direct channels, which we call them, are also controlled, which I will show you how it is made in a minute. We're also optimizing rates, but this is not the only thing we're doing. Personalizer is optimizing also availabilities and restrictions for each product and room type, and it does it in real time. So it's not that it's waiting for the scheduled update, for the scheduled reservation details sent from the PMS. Actually, at least every single reservation, and there are many other factors which are triggering the calculations, they're forcing the system to make sure that the price availability and restrictions on all channels are the best, are optimal. Yeah, and also we are automating the complete work of the revenue manager. I'm talking about the strategy. I'm talking also about many day-to-day tasks which are related to the precise and final execution of the sales strategy. So it's about planning. It's about also it starts from the planning, but also ends up on making sure that every single price availability is really as it should be, and sometimes making also some manual changes, because like machine is a machine. It's powerful. It's great. It's a great help for everyone, but it's not always perfect. So sometimes the human factor needs to react, needs to put some adjustments into what the system is doing. So this all can be automated, and this all can be done in one screen, also including the multiple properties. So it becomes very useful for the revenue managers, for our revenue management teams, if they can control the pricing and the distribution all in one tool. So without logging into channel manager, revenue management system, PMS, different extranets. No, I mean, with Price Optimizer, you can do it everything from one place. So all in all, we're saving much of the time of the revenue manager, but also everyone who's involved in any kind of revenue management related activities. So, for example, from this front desk people, they sometimes also dealing with some details of their distribution. So this can be also offloaded from them. This can be centralized. This can be automated. And at the end of the day, of course, the revenue management system is about increasing the revenue. So we have, based on the data we have on comparing the periods where the price optimization was not yet in place, and when it came to operations, we can increase your revenue by up to almost 8%. So it's quickly paying back. Now, how we do it, maybe just a second, I will make sure that there are no questions in between. I think there are no. So, yeah, so I will dive a little bit more into the technical details, because probably the very natural question which comes up is, okay, but how exactly does it work? So, as I mentioned, we are a channel manager company, like from heritage. So it is probably no surprise that we are combining revenue management and dynamic pricing with channel management and the distribution. So starting from the left side, where is your PMS, the most important factor, which is kind of a distinguishing factor from the other RMSs, is that we are taking availabilities from the PMS, as it is for any other channel manager actually. And the beauty of the solution is that, especially if you have a PMS which charges a lot for new integrations, for new connections, for new tools which are integrated with your system, we can already put revenue management system using the same interface as your channel manager was using before, so you can start optimizing your rates. If you want to be a little bit more advanced, we can also pull the reservation details, and also we can send back the rates to the PMS. But there are various reasons that, especially sending rates back to the PMS is not necessarily always really required. It might be because of two big reasons. One is that, again, it might require a price integration. And also sometimes it is just more convenient to send rates to a kind of a CRM or a quoting tool that helps you to quote the right price. So once we receive availabilities, every availability change is triggering the complete recalculation of all the rates, availabilities, and restrictions, and the whole combined system is making sure that the proper information is then sent to all the channels. And here you can see that there are three types of channels. Of course, there are some online channels like OTAs, GDSs, and things like that. We are a channel manager company from a heritage, as I already said. So we have hundreds of different channels you can connect. So you can also diversify your distribution, your strategy. But most of all, because we are also controlling the distribution, we can always make sure that your direct rates are the best. So it's so it is about the booking engine, but also it is about the most direct reservations, as we call them. So whenever someone is calling you by phone, sending you an email, or walks in, or maybe there's a sales department working at your hotel chain, they can also have a different pricing structure, but also with the safety that those rates will be always the best. So you will not trick your customers by offering maybe equal or sometimes higher rates than they can find on OTAs. What remains the same, of course, is that whenever any reservation is made, so here on the right side, we are sending the reservation back to the PMS, and we receive availability update, so that again, after each and every reservation, we can make sure that all the rates are correct. We can also use the competition pricing to position yourself against competitors, and I will also mention something about it in a minute. Let me briefly check if there's some questions. I think no. But again, if there's anything unclear, or maybe interesting, especially interesting for you, please let me know in the chat, so I can dive a little bit more into something most relevant for you. Now, I mentioned the competition-based pricing. It is actually pretty interesting what we are doing with that. So thanks to the integration with the leading rate shopper providers, we can ensure that your product, all your products and rooms in most cases, will be positioned accordingly to your strategy. What is interesting here is that it is not a general data feed that helps us to maybe increase the rate or decrease the rate depending on the average rate on the market or average rate of your competitors, but we can actually make it very, very precise. It means that we can select a single room and make it and position it correctly. For example, put it on the 10 highest percentile of the competition set, and also make sure that it really competes with all the single rooms from your competitors. So in other words, like suites, apartments, they won't be influencing the single rooms at your property. Now with the trusted providers, we can do it really precisely. We can do it automatically. So this is also very, very helpful for revenue managers. All in all, the system works as a central control tool and automation tool for the whole revenue management and distribution strategy. It brings a couple of main features to the revenue managers, which I will show you just in a minute, but just want to summarize them briefly before. So we're fully automating the not only rates but also availability and restrictions. And dynamic pricing is made for each room type completely individually. So basically every room type, stated, and also rate combination becomes a separate product and is optimized completely differently. We are also giving you control over all the sales channels, including the most direct ones. We're putting also a lot of automation thanks to the infinite set of if this then that rules. So I will show you that in a minute. We can also optimize your rates. We can position your products against your competition. And last but not least, and especially useful for chains, we are able to provide you centralized reporting. So even if you have different PMSs among your properties in your chain, we can centralize that. We can create single like the one report which combines all the data from all the properties. And also, last thing before I dive, I changed the screen to the tool. What is also the distinguishing factor for us is that we are taking our clients really individually. Like, of course, there are some revenue management systems which you can set up by yourself, and also which work as kind of black boxes. It is very useful. Especially for some small properties, this is a very good start for into the revenue management. But what we learn from our clients who are really, really careful about all the details about pricing and distribution is that the one-fits-all solution is basically not for them. So we are combining the individual approach with the dedicated key account managers who are experienced and certified revenue managers with the individual setup. So we, at the beginning of the cooperation, we're making sure that the system is really working according to the client's needs before we really let the machine to take over the control. So there's always this period of testing where we can see the machine already working, but it is not yet connected to all the distribution channels, so that the revenue manager can really make sure they can get this feeling of safety that, okay, now they can really hand over the control to the machine. Yep. Let me check again if there are any questions. No. Perfect. Then let me change the screen to the actual tool, because that's probably always the most interesting thing for you to see. I can see already some greetings popping up on the chat.
I'm checking also if you have any attendees questions, but we don't have. I will leave on screen the virtual stand from YieldPlanet, so you can book a meeting with the team of YieldPlanet here at Travel Tech Data Space. So thank you, Piotr. It was very interesting, your presentation.
So my time is over. Okay, sorry.
No, okay. I'm so sorry. I thought you were finished. I'm so sorry. I will leave you again.
No worries. No worries.
So sorry.
No.
Please you say goodbye, and I will go again.
I've only stopped showing my screen because I wanted to switch from slides to the actual tool.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
My bad. I'm so sorry.
This is the only reason. Yep. So if I still have a little bit of time, I will briefly show you the tool. There are actually two of them. One is the quoting screen, which helps your front desk team or your sales team to quote always the right price. This is a demo hotel. This is a demo property, so not everything really have to make a lot of sense, but just wanted to show you the basic concepts. And so from the daily perspective, from the operational perspective of a front desk person, it works pretty simple. As you can see, every column here is a different state date, every row is a different room type. So whenever you receive a phone call, for example, requesting for a reservation on the Sunday 28th, you can just select the state date, and you can immediately see all the most recent rates. The rates are here. There are also availabilities. What is pretty interesting is that although here you can see, I can maybe even make it a little bit bigger. Here you can see that there are physically 6 rooms available, but even if the request would be, for example, for 10 single rooms, it's really not a problem to quote the price already for 10 rooms, even if they are physically not available. As I mentioned before, we know the availability exactly, also including the overbooking, so we can make the overbooking on the room category in a safe way, ensuring that the reservation will be actually made. So we will not let the customer go just because the front desk, the person working at the front desk was not sure if they can overbook the room. If the setup allows, the strategic setup made by the revenue manager allows to make an overbooking, it will be available to do so. So let me even quickly simulate the booking for 10 rooms. As you can see, there is some kind of simulation running in the background, because if we are applying the dynamic rates, you can imagine that after maybe 2 or 3 another reservations for a single room, the price should become higher, and also that is something what we are doing here. As you can see, we have borrowed availability from the other room types, to make sure that we can really book 10 rooms out of 6 available, and also we made sure that the price will be acting according to the strategic dynamic pricing setup, so that the average price will not be just simply 10 times the current price. let me just clear again. Here you can see that was 12,850, which, as you can see, was a little bit more than just 10 times the current price. This is all about the configuration. So and we understand that at some properties it makes sense to do so. At some properties, for example, only reservations bigger than 20 rooms should be the subject of this kind of dynamic pricing. But it's really up to the setup. Now, changing quickly to the revenue management system itself. So just wanted to show you the most important features here. This is a little bit similar to what the front desk people can really see, but it is certainly more powerful. What remains the same is that every column is a different state date, every row is a different room type, and they are also a little bit grouped for ease of control. Taking a look at the previously chosen Sunday 28th, if I select the state date, you can see that there are some details on the right side popping up. Going from the left to the right, the first thing which you can see here is the price level. This is maybe not the best example, but every room type or every room type group is controlled individually. So it may end up that the system will decide, okay, that those single rooms, they deserve a higher price level than the others. And it will just control those prices independently. You can also manually influence the rates, and by applying changes, you're making sure that all the rates are being distributed to all the channels. And also those little blue arrows, they highlight that some manual changes were already made to that day. Also, we can control availability, as I mentioned. If you're a revenue manager, of course, you know that there are multiple ways of doing that. With that, we can either play with the cancellation probability of already existing bookings, but also, we can play with the overbooking, so that if we receive 6 rooms from the PMS, we know that physically there are 6 rooms available. But if you want to, for example, overbook them or underbook them, we can either manually change it here, or we can just apply some general setup to the overbooking strategy. Also, it can differ. It can change over the time. The DTA factor is also important here. We're taking that under consideration. And when I apply changes, I will quickly switch back to the previous tool. You can see already that there are 8 rooms available for sales, just because I've manually changed that as a revenue manager. Now, referring to one of the things I've mentioned in my presentation about changing the strategy in this case the special event occurs, or maybe an event actually gets cancelled. What we do during the setup is that we are combining a set of different strategies. And in this example, it is mainly about low and high seasons, but also it is actually that the strategy, there could be a different strategy for every type of a stay date. So a weekday in a high season can and actually really should have a different strategy than a weekend in a high season. And all those strategies we can predefine here during the setup. So in case you for example, you are planning to have a congress, which is obviously influencing your race strategy for a selected day. As you can see, the rates were completely different. Instead of 1200s, you have now 2000s. Once you realize, okay, this event gets cancelled, and even before the system realizes that, because of maybe some kind of data feed, or maybe because of the cancellations coming to the PMS, you can log quickly into the system. You can select a different strategy. So basically, within only 3 clicks, you can completely change your strategy. So it's not that you need to now organize a meeting, think about, okay, what should we do right now? No, I mean, we have the predefined strategies, and you can select between them. Also, talking about the distribution possibilities and about the one screen control, you can open, close channels, rate plans, and rooms already from here. For example, if I wish to close Booking.com because I see that there are some the increasing demand for direct bookings, I can already do it from here. I will group my distribution by partner and then by room type. So I'm now able to select, for example, to close junior suite and yeah, for example, maybe a small double room on Booking.com. And I can also do it once. So I can, for example, decide to open it again at a certain time. So even if you realize that okay, it makes sense to now close the channel or the room type on the channel, it's not that you need to remember about the fact that you did that in the past, and now you need to reopen that because otherwise you won't get those bookings again. No, I mean you can already take one action, and if there should be any kind of release planned, you can also plan it from here. So you can either select based on rate plans or rooms. For example, you can close all the rooms, like the one room on all the all the channels. Yeah, whatever is actually like most useful at the moment. For example, here I will be able to close the non-refundable junior suite on Booking.com already from here. So I don't need to go to channel manager. I don't need to even don't need to go to any extranet. Everything can be controlled from this place. Yep. So this maybe to extend a little bit what we can show here is this, yeah, maybe a graph version. Again, this is a demo hotel, so maybe not all the data will be available here, but also we can show you in a graphical way a kind of forecast. We can show you the on the books, also the data from the last year. We can also show you the competition prices from your competitors, and also we can show you different KPI comparisons. Like for example, here we can see the occupancy chart, yeah, the booking pace for the selected stay date. At least one very interesting thing about this of the configuration are those distribution rules, those if this then that rules I wanted to show you. Let me show you an example of how it works, how it is set up. And yeah, the screen can look a little bit complex, but the principle behind that is pretty simple. We need to define like what should happen in order to trigger which action. So, for example, we can decide that if the availability of a selected, like for example, if the availability of the hotel is lower than let's say 10. So in other words, that we have only last 9 rooms available in this context. Okay, maybe we can do 10. So it is a little bit of play with numbers, but we can decide, okay, last 10 rooms, I would like maybe to keep always for direct bookings, for walk-ins. So I can decide to, for example, close selected rooms or rates in order to achieve that. Also, the DTA condition is here important, so we can decide to make it happen only, for example, during the last 7 days before arrival, so not sooner than the week before the arrival. You can also make sure that it only happens for selected stay dates, the weekdays, but also for selected rate plans or selected channels. So all in all, with those rules, we can make sure that the most repetitive tasks that you're trying to perform, that you're trying to make sure they are really executed. Especially because what we realize is that in most cases, those actions, they really need to be triggered when you basically don't have time for that. So either during night or during the meeting you have, like those simple actions, they can be automated, and this is the way to do that. Let me check if there are some questions. Oh, yeah. There's a question: how much longer does it take to implement the tool? A question from Jana Maria Konstantin. Thanks, Jana, for the good question. I'm not sure what is the reference time, so not sure how much longer does it take, but I can tell you how long it takes on average to implement the tool. If we have all the integrations already in place, it takes us between 2 or 3 weeks to implement the tool, including the strategic workshop we're doing with the client, also the little bit of testing period up until to the switch, so the moment when the system takes control. I can also see that Natalia is asking me to finish, so I wanted to thank you for your time, for your also for some questions. If you would like to see more about the tool, feel free to either schedule the meeting with those visual stands, or just find me on LinkedIn. I'll be more than glad to guide you through the details of the system. Yeah, I basically encourage you to reach out to me. That might be a really big help for you in your daily work.